So, by a show of hands, who here likes to eat? Okay, good. All right, again, by a show of hands, who here likes to cook? All right, that's a little bit surprising. A little bit more than half, it looks like, actually like to cook. I really like to cook. I find it very enjoyable, very soothing. Come home from a hard day of work and, just kind of relax, have a drink or whatever while you're cooking, and just get a good meal. So, in the next few minutes here, we're going to talk about kind of some of the benefits of cooking at home. And I know many of you think that it's kind of a burden to come home from a long day of work and actually cook. But we're going to show how it doesn't take quite as much time as you think, how it provides some healthy options, and how it can actually even save you some money. So I know probably the biggest problem is that most of us either work full-time, go to school full-time, or do a combination of it, work full-time and go to school. And we think that we don't really have time in our schedules to actually cook, make a meal each night. So, biggest problem is we don't plan our meals. When you go to the grocery store one day, you think, what do I want to eat this day? You don't actually think, what am I going to eat, 2 days from now, 3 days from now, or for the rest of the week. Another reason we don't like to cook is just because we get home from work, or we're driving home from work, and we're just kind of tired. We just don't really want to do anything, want to get home, sit on the couch, pick up food, and just relax. Some of us might not even know how to cook. And the last reason is that just going out sometimes seems a lot easier. Just stop by the drive-thru on the way home, grab something to eat, you're home and relaxed already. So, some of the problems with not cooking at home, according to Rachel Brandeis, a registered dietitian with the American Diabetic Association, she states that people consume 50% more calories, fat, and sodium when they eat out than when they actually eat at home. And according to the American Institute for Cancer Research, approximately 75% of our salt intake comes from processed foods, and that salt is a probable cause of stomach cancer. And then, according to the National Cancer Institute, experts believe that up to 1/3 of cancers are related to diets, including cancer of the colon, kidneys, and the esophagus. So now that we've seen some of the problems with people who think about cooking at home, I'm going to show you a quick video clip here about just how quick it is to actually cook at home.
I'm Scott Boswell, the chef and owner of Stella in New Orleans. New Orleans is home.
It'll load up here, I guess, in a few minutes. But basically what this is going to be is a very quick marinara sauce. You can make it home, and as you'll see from the video, it really only takes about 2 minutes to prep it and have it ready and simmer in the stove.
But there's so much more.
Sorry about this.
For other delicious recipes and to find out why we love grapes, visit foodnetwork.com/grapes.
So the foundation for my mother's marinara sauce is simple onions, sauteed with a little bit of olive oil with some garlic, and then that special, naturally sweet touch, grated carrots. So 2 yellow onions, and these are really some strong onions, but that's kind of the character building part of this sauce for me. So let's get a little bit of oil heating and just get them cooking in that olive oil. Now this is where we need the pure horsepower of garlic. So 10 cloves. I like to still sense the garlic in the end product. So I just slice them into rounds. Just gather that garlic up on the end of your knife and drop it in there. It's making me smile, all this garlic. Give a quick stir. Now for tomato sauce, I don't like to use straight ground black or white pepper. Instead, I like a little heat from 2 teaspoons of chili flakes. It does the same thing as pepper, gives it that little kick. And then I put 2 teaspoons of sugar. And for a little bit of nature's sweetener, I'm going to add some fresh carrot. So I like to go old school on the box grater. And again, it really feels like a lot when you put it together. And once we spill the tomatoes in there, the whole world is going to make sense. Now I'm really ready to add my tomatoes and turn this into a tomato sauce. So just pour 2 cans of whole peeled tomatoes into here. We'll just let this tomato sauce continue to simmer on the stove over like a medium heat.
So, as you can see from that, it takes roughly about 2 minutes just to prep for, basic marinara sauce, and I'm sure most of us like spaghetti with tomato sauce. So here's some of the reasons why you actually can cook at home. As you saw from the video, cooking at home doesn't take as much time as you might think. It saves money, and you can eat healthier. So some things that you're going to need to do if you do want to cook at home is you're going to need to plan ahead. So what this means is you're going to have to make a list when you go to the grocery store of not just the meal that you want to make for that night, but for the entire week. This will allow you to only make 1 or 2 trips to the grocery store each week, or each time, instead of going every single day for each dinner that you're going to make. According to an article in Simple Nourished Living, home cooking is about creating simple meals that comfort, nourish, and please, and not trying to impress with overcomplicated dishes. If you're not trying to wow anyone, you don't need all sorts of special herbs and spices and different frills and stuff like that they put at restaurants, just simple basic food. So some things that you can do to get that is invest in a crock pot. It's a great thing to do if you have a busy day at work. Get some meat, get some vegetables, get some potatoes, throw it in there with some tomatoes. When you get home from work, you have a nice hot stew ready for you. I've cooked many meals in the crock pot, and most of the time they turn out just great. Haven't really had any issues with that. Something else I know that most of us like to do as well is to grill. Again, you can just grill some meat. Vegetables are great on the grill, and all you really need for a steak, throw some salt and pepper on it. No fancy spices, anything like that. Throw it on the grill, let it cook 10 minutes, you got a perfect steak just as good as any restaurant that you go to. Another benefit of cooking at home is it is going to save you some money. So according to Brandon Odell, who is owner of a restaurant consulting firm, food costs make up only 20 to 35% of a restaurant's expenses. So that means that 65 to 80% of the costs go into other things that you're paying for at a restaurant. So if you're going to spend $50 on a dinner, which is pretty high, but one of my favorite places is Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, where $50 doesn't get you too far, but basically 20% of that is $10, so we'll say $10 to $15 that they're spending on the actual food there. So you can save all sorts of money if you actually just cook at home, get the ingredients yourself, grill it up, you'll have a meal just about as good. Also, another thing you can do is go to food.com, and they actually have restaurant meals. One of my favorites that I found on there is, I don't know if you've ever had the chicken Madeira from the Cheesecake Factory. I went to food.com, they give you a recipe for it, and make it is just as good as being at the Cheesecake Factory, and probably over 50% cheaper than actually going out to eat. Also, like we saw from the Food Network clip, you can also get tips on saving money and making good meals at home. Also, you can cut out some of the high fat and salt that restaurants use, and also that we have in the processed meals, like the lean cuisines, things like that you find in the freezer, that sometimes we think is a good alternative to actually making something by ourselves. So cooking at home is going to help lower obesity, cholesterol, and many cancers, as we saw before. And probably the greatest reason is it gives you some personal satisfaction. If you make a great meal that you like and other people that you're cooking for like, really great personal satisfaction. So as you saw, cooking at home is not necessarily an inconvenience. It can actually be enjoyable, coming home from a day of work, having a drink, cooking dinner for yourself or someone that is staying with you. It saves some time, definitely saves some money, and it gives you some healthier alternatives. So as you can see, cooking at home doesn't have to be a burden that some of us think it to be. And who knows, some of us might get our own Food Network show at some time. But the biggest thing is just go out there and cook. And I think a lot of you will surprise yourself and just kind of see how great of a cook you can actually be. Thank you.